Beauty influencer Mikayla Nogueira says she's done wiping her tears and is ready to begin her next chapter in life as a single woman.
Mikayla, why would you promote raccoon under eyes at the Met Gala?
Lashes, I'm using the Pillow Talk push-up lashes in the beautiful Dream Pop color.
Mikayla Nogueira is officially divorced from Cody Hawken and celebrating her way with full glam, a 5-figure shopping spree, and a little romance.
In February 2026, a woman whose entire career is built on telling you the truth about a $2 mascara sat down to tell you the truth about her marriage. She said the words, "I am getting a divorce." She asked you to take a minute. And millions of people did. And then those same people did the one thing she taught them to do. They checked the receipts. Because for 4 years, the internet has been quietly running one experiment on Mikayla Nogueira. Not, is she likable? Not, is the makeup good? One question, over and over, when your whole brand is honesty. What happens the day your audience decides to fact-check you back? Rewind 2021. A dental hygienist from Massachusetts starts posting makeup videos with a thick Boston accent, a drugstore budget, and an energy like your loudest friend grabbing your wrist in a CVS aisle going, "Girl, you need this." No ring light gatekeeping, no unattainable glam. Just, "I found this. It's $12. It's incredible." And it worked at a speed almost nobody has ever matched. In under a year, she went from a few thousand followers to millions. Brands lined up, she met the biggest names in beauty, and the thing every single one of those brands was actually buying was the feeling that Mikayla wasn't selling you anything. She was just telling you the truth.
I want to stat this video by saying I appreciate you and I love you, and you're gonna want to sit down for this video.
That was the whole product, not eyeshadow trust. The camera was always close, always unfiltered, or so she said, always. It's just me, no fancy setup, no agenda. Her audience wasn't buying makeup so much as buying a person who felt safe, the best friend who would never lie to you about a bad foundation. By 2022, she had the single most valuable thing in the industry, an audience that believed her by default. And here's the quiet problem with building an empire on trust me. You only get to say it until the first time someone catches you. Mikayla's first time came attached to a tube of mascara. January 2023, Mikayla posts a paid partnership for a L'Oreal mascara, the Telescopic Lift. She swipes it on, her lashes go from short to spider leg long in a single coat, and she delivers it with that trademark shock. Oh my God, it should have been the easiest ad she ever ran. Instead, the comments filled up with one accusation, over and over. Those aren't the mascara, those are false lashes. Viewers zoomed in frame by frame and became convinced she was wearing falsies, while telling you a drugstore mascara did it. The internet named it in a day, Lashgate.
I love how it pairs with the eyeshadow. This is how I would do my makeup for the Met Gala. This is a full face of makeup I hate.
Now, to be fair, and this channel is always fair, it was never proven that she glued on a full set of falsies. Mikayla denied it. L'Oreal stood by the campaign. It's genuinely possible the lashes were real, and the internet decided otherwise. But here is the part that actually mattered, and it had nothing to do with mascara. For a creator whose only real asset is, "You can trust my reaction," the accusation alone was the damage. Suddenly, millions of people were rewatching every "Oh my God, she'd ever filmed," and asking the same thing, was that real or was that the job? And Mikayla went quiet. And the silence had a reason. People pointed out she couldn't fully clear it up even if she wanted to. Because when there's a brand contract involved, there are things you're simply not allowed to say. So the woman who built everything on being an open book suddenly had pages she couldn't turn. Think about how upside down that is. The exact thing that made her rich a paid partnership was also the thing gagging her when her honesty got questioned. Lashgate blew over in a few weeks, like these things do. But it planted a question in the audience that never fully left. And they started watching the ads a lot more closely.
What was your take on the whole thing with Mikayla, how she addressed it? I mean, you're no stranger to controversy.
Yeah,
so
I just thought it was it's such a bizarre thing because people forget.
Because once you start looking, the ads have a house style. Take the one where Mikayla walks into Ulta and, surprise, just happens to stumble on a L'Oreal cushion foundation she's never seen before. Since when does L'Oreal have a cushion foundation? This was the last thing I expected to see at Ulta today. Except it wasn't a surprise. It was a partnership. There were contracts. She knew about that foundation weeks in advance. As one commenter put it flatly, "But you didn't see it at Ulta. It was sent to you as a partnership deal. The discovery was the performance."
Is it skincare? Is it skin prep? What the hell is the difference?
What is the difference? Guys, there's no difference, okay? We need to get real and fast.
Then there's the disclosure itself. After Lashgate, L'Oreal started making creators say the ad part out loud and on screen. Mikayla found the loophole. She'd put the required spoken disclosure at the very end after most people have already swiped away, and parked the on-screen tag right under the caption, half hidden behind her own text. Technically disclosed, functionally buried. And it's not just one brand. Viewers flagged an undisclosed BB cream ad where the disclosure was tucked into a wall of hashtags you'd have to tap more to even find. Little choices over and over that all lean the same direction. Make the paid thing look unpaid. And then came the receipt that was hardest to explain. In that same BB cream video, Mikayla shows one bare side of her face, nothing on it. She says then applies the product, rubs a Q-tip across her chin, and reveals a big red pimple the BB cream apparently just erased. Miracle coverage. One problem, when that side of her face was supposedly bare, the pimple wasn't there. It appears out of nowhere the second it's useful. So either she had product on a face she told you was clean, or something is smoothing that skin that isn't the BB cream, which lands us right back on the thing she's always denied. Filters. Her words, "I don't use filters. The footage keeps raising its hand."
We need to talk about what might be the most unintentionally revealing influencer moment of the year, because when Mikayla opened her TikTok with, "You're gonna wanna sit down for this video, take a minute, take it in, I'm getting a divorce."
And I want to be careful here, because it would be easy to make this sound like a monster. She isn't. She's a genuinely talented, genuinely funny person who is extremely good at her job, and her job, increasingly, is making a sponsorship feel like a secret between friends. That's the whole tension of Mikayla Nogueira. The very skill that made her beloved "She's So Real" is the same skill that lets her sell you something while you think you're just hanging out. Hold that thought. Because in 2026, she pointed that exact skill at the biggest, most personal story of her life. February 12th, 2026. New video. You're gonna want to sit down for this. And then, I am getting a divorce. Mikayla and her husband Cody Hawken together 5 years. Married about 2. We're splitting up. She's calm, composed, rehearsed in the way you are when you've been holding something for months. And she tells us exactly why she's so put together. Quote, "The reason I'm pretty put together in this video is because we made this decision last year. They separated," she says, in 2025. "It's amicable. They still talk every day. He still comes over for dinner and to see the dogs."
The internet absolutely lost their mind. And not in like a typical "I'm here for you" way. I feel like this was very evident when Aspen and Parker got divorced. Aspen Ovard, if you're not sure who that is.
And let me say the fair thing plainly, because it matters. A divorce is not a scandal. It is one of the most painful things a human being can go through. And Mikayla said exactly that, quote, "This is an extremely bad thing. No one gets married to get a divorce." She also drew one line I completely respect, and this channel will not cross it. Cody has been open about struggling with addiction and spent time in rehab in 2025. And she asked people to keep that out of it, to treat the addiction and the divorce as 2 separate things. Good. We will. This episode is not about Cody's recovery, and it's not about whose fault a marriage was. It's about one thing only: the way the story was told. Because watch what happened to the grief. Within weeks, the divorce wasn't just an announcement, it was a content series. There was a "get ready with me for divorce court." There were videos about the extra closet space she gained. There were jokes about who got the dogs. "You can take all my money, but you ain't taking my babies." Some of her audience found it refreshingly honest. Others watched the most painful thing a person can go through get turned, in real time, into a posting schedule, and felt something curdle. The same instinct that once made a mascara ad feel like a confession was now making a divorce feel like a bit, And then the timeline stopped adding up.
Talk about an updated list of people that are still following James Charles through all of the stuff that he's been through and what he's done. And then I want to talk about Mikayla Nogueira because I'm actually really fucking sick of her.
Here's where a section of her own fans got uneasy. Almost immediately after announcing the split, Mikayla revealed she was already dating someone new, a man she described as a high school sweetheart who had, in her words, been in the background of her life for 10 years, respectfully waiting for his moment. She called it the healthiest relationship she's ever been in. And for a lot of people, that romantic framing raised a question she didn't answer. If you separated only weeks ago, and the new relationship is already this serious and this public, when exactly did the background become the foreground? To be clear, that is speculation, not fact. Nobody has proven any overlap. And Mikayla has flatly said she simply moved on. But it was her own most loyal viewers asking.
Mikayla making her way to TikTok March 6th, documenting for her 17 million followers her getting ready to go on a date.
And through all of it, one person stayed completely silent. Cody. Mikayla had framed the split as mutual, private, protective, and for months he said nothing, which let her version be the only version. Then, according to his own posts, that changed. Cody resurfaced online and started suggesting the divorce wasn't quite the tidy, amicable story it had been sold as. In his telling, the two of them had an agreement not to talk about each other negatively, and he claimed she hadn't held up her end. He publicly asked people to send him clips of Mikayla talking about him. His words, quote, "She has not held up her end of the bargain." Remember, these are Cody's claims, his side, unproven. But it was the first time the other half of this marriage had spoken at all.
Before I get to her, I want to talk a little bit about her best friend, Glamzilla. So Glamzilla the other day uploaded this video where she was reviewing this new Louis Vuitton lip liner that they came out with.
And that reframes everything, because now there are two people with receipts. On one side, Mikayla's version, amicable, mutual, she protected him, she moved on, end of story. On the other, Cody's version, there was a deal about staying quiet, and she broke it. This channel is not going to hand you a winner, because there isn't one to hand a marriage, has two insiders, and we are neither. What we can say is this. The woman whose brand is I would never lie to you is now in a public dispute about honesty with the one person who was actually in the room. And in July 2026, when the divorce was finalized, she ran down the courthouse steps in a shirt that said, "Just divorced," calling it, through happy tears, one of the hardest things she's ever survived. Both of those can be true at once.
The final look, I'm feeling really good and optimistic that I will leave that courtroom today a divorced woman.
And a few hours later, she did. The newly divorced diva sharing a video of her running outside the courthouse in a t-shirt reading "Just Divorced."
So why does a beauty influencer's divorce belong on this channel at all? Because Mikayla Nogueira is the purest example we have of a specific modern machine, the authenticity economy. Her entire empire runs on one feeling that she is not performing, that you are simply being let in. And every single controversy of her career, from a tube of mascara to the end of a marriage, is the exact same collision. It's the gap between "this is just me being real with you" and a camera that keeps catching the edit. And here's the part that isn't really about her. We reward this. The algorithm pays more for candid than for ad. It pays more for "I'm crying and being honest with you" than for "here is a sponsorship." So of course the smartest creators learned to make everything, the review, the discovery, even the divorce, feel unscripted. Mikayla didn't break the rules of the influencer economy. She understood them better than almost anyone. The question isn't whether she's uniquely dishonest. The question is whether authenticity, as a product you can sell, was ever going to survive being this profitable. Because strip away the mascara and the closet jokes and the courthouse shirt, and you're left with the same thing this channel keeps finding. A person turning her real life into content, and an audience that can no longer tell where the person ends and the content begins. Maybe that's the saddest receipt of all. Not that she lied about a divorce, we don't know that she did. But that we've built a world where a woman going through the hardest year of her life genuinely could not tell whether she was healing or filming. Cody, for what it's worth, says he doesn't want to live in hate, that he's said his piece and he's moving on. Mikayla says she's happier than she's ever been. Both of them are, right now, still posting. Because that's the one thing this story guarantees. Whatever actually happened inside that marriage, the internet already has its verdict on the performance, and both of them still have to wake up tomorrow and post through it. If you've been here since the Colleen Ballinger episode, you already know the shape of this. Same machine, different face. Colleen sold you closeness. Mikayla sells you honesty. And in both cases, the fandom that felt the most let in was the fandom that felt the most betrayed when the seams showed. It's the exact same question waiting in our Tana Mojo episode, a girl who did the opposite of Mikayla, who scrubbed her whole brand clean to survive. Two influencers, two totally opposite strategies, same trap. So before you head to the comments, and please go, that's what they're for, sit with one honest question. When your favorite creator tells you something feels real, you can't actually verify it. You're taking their word. That's the entire deal. So here's mine to you. Think about the last thing an influencer told you that felt too real to be an ad. How sure are you? And if you couldn't tell the difference, whose job was it to make sure you couldn't?